Next topic, organization of IO function. Basically, IO technique is the process by which the CPU is able to read or it is able to give output in the input output devices. Okay, so there are three ways. First is programmed IO. In programmed IO, the CPU issue an IO command on behalf of a process. The process wait for the IO operation before proceeding. Now consider a program that is sum of two numbers. So the sum of two number in this program, we need input from the keyboard. So the CPU will issue and read command so that it can read the input, and when it is reading the input from the IO device, the process is waiting in the CPU. Once we get the values, the CPU now will add the two numbers and give the output on the output device. Okay, so this is the programmed IO method. And second is the interrupt driven. In interrupt driven, basically the input or the output device will interrupt the CPU. Now CPU is working on some process or program, so if any input or output device wants to give or take some information, it will give a signal to the CPU. So there are two methods. First is blocking. Now suppose one IO device issues a interrupt, so what will happen, CPU is executing one process. As soon as it will get an interrupt, so it will solve the interrupt. It will see what the problem, what the request is there, and then after solving the interrupt, it will again restart the process. So during this period of time, the process is blocked because CPU is now handling the interrupt. This is the blocking method. And second is the non-blocking method. Here a process is running, now interrupt comes but process is still running, and after there are two ways. So after the process completes, then the interrupt will be handled, or at the same time using some thread, the interrupt will be handled separately using the thread concept. So this is called non-blocking. So basic difference between blocking and non-blocking is some IO device will issue an interrupt. So in blocking, the process will wait till the interrupt is handled, and in non-blocking, the process will continue. Either it will complete, or using some thread concept, we can solve the interrupt parallelly. Okay, so these are the two methods, interrupt driven IO. Okay, and this is the diagram of interrupt driven IO. So IO device initiate some IO request, so it will generate an interrupt. Now CPU will check for interrupt, it will handle the interrupt, and then CPU will resume its previous work. Okay, so this is our interrupt driven IO. Okay, and the last one is DMA, direct memory access